Hello and welcome to Celebrate, a series of free performing arts programs with the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library and Museum in Boston, Massachusetts. My name is Maria Quintero and I am the Outreach and Programs Manager for the Department of Education and Public Programs. To open, I humbly start with a land acknowledgement to recognize the Pawtucket and Massachusetts peoples of the Wampanoag Tribal Confederation territories, who both past and present throughout many generations leading up to today have stewarded the land where the Kennedy Library stands. A land acknowledgement is not enough, but it is an important way for us to promote Indigenous visibility and for us to remember that we are on stolen and settled Indigenous land. I invite us all to contemplate how to better support Indigenous communities and to learn how to honor and take care of the land that each of us inhabits. I'm so delighted that you've chosen to join us here today from wherever it is that you might be. We want to thank our sponsors, AT&T, the Martin Richard Foundation, the Mass Cultural Council, and the John F. Kennedy Library Foundation. It is with their generous support that we are able to bring this program free of charge to you. The Celebrate series highlights America's rich cultural diversity and really honors the role that they play in the performing arts as important components of what makes up a democratic society. It's a value that President Kennedy and Mrs. Kennedy maintained while they were in the White House, and it's a value that we're really honored to continue to this day through the Celebrate series. This video program is fully captioned, so if you press on the small square on your screen with 2 C's, you can turn captioning on and off. We're really excited that today we're actually bringing you this program from the Kennedy Library itself. And if we do encounter any technical difficulties, we'd like to invite you to check the description box below this video for any updates on how to get the full video, or you will be emailed if you've registered for this program. With today's program, we invite you to learn more with the Wampanoag Nation singers and dancers in honor of Native American Heritage Month. I also want you to remember that you can learn about Indigenous history and Indigenous contemporary communities all year round, not just in November. Remember to please share this program with friends and family so that we can all come together and celebrate.
Hello, good morning, good day. Thanks for having us, thanks for tuning in. We are the Wampanoag Nation Singers and Dancers, and we're here at JFK Presidential Library. So, thanks to JFK for having us, and thanks for, as I said, thanks for tuning in. Nataswis Hartman, Nutamas Masipiat, Kanin Masipi Wampanoag. My name is Hartman. I'm from Mashpee, and I'm of the Mashpee Wampanoag. That's who I am. We've got the rest of the group here. We're going to do some introductions, and then we'll jump into the program.
Ciao, Wanikisak Nasasui Satakwin Nutomas Masipia Ka Nahagansia. Good day, everybody. My name is Adequin. I'm from the Mashpee Wampanoag Narragansett tribes. Thank you for having me. Katapatanamu.
Kwikwasan, Natasuis Nanawita, Ka Kitty Hendricks, Nutomas Masipiat, Natai Masipiat. It's a good day. You're in the light. I'm called Kitty Hendricks. My spirit name is Nanawita, and I am from Mashpee. My blood and bones are from Mashpee, and I also live in Mashpee. Thank you very much. Katabatash.
Good afternoon. I'm Troy Currents. I'm from the Heron Pond Wampanoag tribe. Man, I got up here and I forgot my name. It's Two Crows, Nisui Konkonkiwak. Thank you.
Kuikwasanemu Natasuis Deja Peters, Nutomas Ka Natai Masipiat. Greetings. Hello, everyone. My name is Deja Peters. I'm from and I live in Mashpee. I'm a member of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe, and I'm the Mashpee Wampanoag Powwow Princess. Thank you for having us.
Cha Wanikisak. My name is Talia Landry, and I'm from the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe.
Waniki Sukna Tasui Sassaman, New Tomas Masipiak. Hello, good day, everybody. My name is Sassaman, and I am also a member of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe. Katabatash.
So for our first song, we're going to do a song that honors the pipe for us. You may have heard folks talk about peace pipes, and peace pipes is one of those things that stereotypically goes along with Indian culture. But of course, you know, this is just a surface observation of what we have. For us, the pipe is a sacred thing. It brings together the male and the female half, and that's a part of what is creation. That force of creation. And that smoke, when we smoked our tobacco, we used it as a sacrament, as an offering, something that we could give back to the world when we took from the world. And so when we have to take from the world, when we have to take tobacco, we also have to have something to offer back to that. And this is where we have the song for the sacredness of the pipe that lifts our prayers with the smoke, and for the sacredness of the smoke itself. And this is the Calumet, done by the men and sung by the women. So we got ladies up now.
Aho, dane ho, aho, dane ho, aho, dane ho. Aho dane ho, 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 aho dane ho. Aho dane ho, 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 Katapatanamu. I always very proud when our men do this dance, and it's a dance that's done all over and was given to us by the Winnebagos, and they are known as Ho-Chunk. So we are appreciative of that gift. So here is Hartman.
So in this world, there are lots of things to give thanks for. Some things we give thanks maybe to be without. And this next dance is done for one of the very, very small parts of our world, the mosquito. So I'm sure a lot of you folks at home are thinking, why do we have a song for the mosquito? He's a pest. And this is actually a song to honor that being, because for one, it provides sustenance and life for lots of other things and beings in the world. And even though it may annoy us, we understand that everything has its place. So we have this to hopefully keep the mosquito out of our place and hopefully in its own. And they say if you can do this dance successfully without kicking your partner, then you won't get bit by mosquitoes all year long. So we'll just jump right in. Lots of times we do audience participation, so with this, Kitty's taking over the dancing, and
I just want to mention that this is a kid favorite at home. I do think that sometimes they like to be kicked, and they like to kick it in return. This is Mosquito. Sorry about that. A-you, 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 way ha, way ha, way ha, hey. A-you, 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 way ha, way ha, way ha, hey. A-you, 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 way ha, way ha, way ha, hey. A-you, 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 way ha, way ha, way ha, hey. You, you, way ha, hey. You, way ha, hey. You, way ha, way ha, 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 way ha, hey. You, way ha, hey. You, way ha, hey. You, way ha, way ha, 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 way ha, hey. You, way ha, hey. You, way ha, hey. So ordinarily, we would have many more people joining us. I hope maybe some of you out there are getting up and joining us as well. So we have an array of dancers. It's hard right now. You know, we're trying to portray some of the celebratory dances that we do when we socialize with each other in different gatherings. And we also try to get the young ones when we travel to schools to get up and be brave and try some of these dances. And most of the time by the end of the performance, we do have quite a lot of people joining in. So I hope at home you're doing the same thing. All right. So back to, all these guys are doing a lot of dancing. Back to Hartman.
so the next song is another song to pay respects and honor another animal. And this one, some folks also might say, well, why do you honor them? But we honor great hunters. We honor their strength. We honor their ferocity. And we understand that you have to use caution when you're around them. I actually got to sing this song to one of these beasts myself. When I was down in Louisiana, and we went out on the boardwalk, and I got to see a little sleeping baby alligator. I got to sing it the alligator dance. And this is a dance done with partners. If we might get an example. Partners join their hands together, and by joining their hands together and becoming one unit, now they have 4 legs. Like the alligator has 4 legs. And we admire the hunting skills of the alligator and its ferocity. And when the alligator grabs onto its prey, it grabs on and it spins. And so there's a big spin in the song. Yo ho, hey, yay! Where they all spin, and that's both to represent the spinning and the thrashing of the alligator when it's in the hunt, or the rescue if you have to pull your partner away from the edge of the canoe to get her out of harm's way. So this represents both the danger and the strength, the ferocity of the alligator, and it's a fun dance to do. So it traveled further than the alligator ever did. With that, here we go with the alligator dance. Kayo he ho ya ne we ho ya ne kayo we ho ya ne we ho ya ne kayo we ho ya ne we ho ya ne kayo we ho ya ne we ho ya ne we ho ya ne we ho yo way ha yo ho way ha yo ho way ha yo ho way ha yo yene o he hunge he ho he hunge 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 o he hunge we yo way ha yo ho way ha yo ho way ha yo ho way ha yo hey ah wichinayo ye ha wichinayo ha 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 wichinayo yeah yo way ha yo way ha yo way ha yo way ha yo yene gayo we ho yene we ho 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 yene we ho yene we ho ho way ha yo way ha yo way ha yo way ha yo
I think they could have kept on dancing. Well, we could let the dancers catch a little breath here. We're going to do a short, round dance.
Yep.
A small round circle dance.
And so, as said, oftentimes these are dances that would be done with hundreds of members of the community. But even with a small group of us, we can still join hands in the shape of a circle. This dance, the round dance, was recorded in 1630s by Roger Williams. Talked about people showing up from Europe and seeing Narragansett women in the fields of their corn stop their planting, their harvest, I forget which, and come out to the shoreline and join hands together to greet the English. This is a song of equality, of balance, of togetherness. of welcoming and friendship. And this is how we like to start our relationships off with people that we don't know, with strangers. And it's just really simple. People go to the left, and then they go to the right. That represents the balance. The balance also is represented by the circle itself, where everybody is equal distance from the center. There is no front and no back. There is no lead and no tail. It's also important because many of the things we see in creation, creators' work, are also in the shape of circles. The planets, the stars, the sun and the moon, our faces, our eyeballs, the stump of a tree, waves, clouds. These things all come in circles. So we honor the creator's work, the creator's creation in that shape of a circle, and understand that that balance, that equality, that harmony has to come. It has to. And until that balance has come, everything's going to be in chaos. So we try to keep that balance and try to avoid the chaos, and I'll turn it over to Kitty.
Katapatash. We also try to keep balance when we do, keep the balance of the man and the woman, the male and the female. So we try to alternate whenever we do any of these dances in a line or in a circle. So here's round dance. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-we-yo, hi-ya. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-we-yo, hi-ya. 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 Way-ha, hi-ya, way-ha, hi-yo. Hi-yo, hi-we-yo, hi-ya. 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 Way-ha, hi-ya, way-ha, hi-yo. Yo, hi-ya, yo, hi-ya, yo, hey, hi-ya. Yo, hi-ya, yo, hi-ya, yo, hey, hi-ya. Yo, hi-ya, yo, hi-ya, yo, hi-ya. Yo, hi-ya, yo, hi-ya, yo, hi-ya. Yo, hi-ya, way-ha, hi-ya, way-ha, hi-yo. Yo, hi-ya, yo, hi-ya, yo, hi-ya. Yo, hi-ya, yo, hi-ya, yo, hi-ya. Yo, hi-ya, way-ha, hi-ya, way-ha, hi-yo. Hi-yo, hi-we-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-yo, hi-we-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-we-yo, hi-yo, hi. Hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-we-yo, hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-we-yo. Way-ha, hi-ya, way-ha, hi-yo. Hi-we-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-we-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-we-yo, hi-yo, hi-we-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-we-yo, hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-we-yo, hi-ya. Way-ha, hi-ya, way-ha, hi-yo. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-we-yo, hi-ya. 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 Way-ha, hi-ya, way-ha, hi-yo. come together at the end there. Had a little bit of a tickle going on. A lot of times in our communities, we'll have circles so large that a lot of times we have to make more than one circle. We use this as kind of an icebreaker for a lot of activities and a lot of events. So it's always good because people get to know each other when you're standing right next to them, and also when you're holding hands. That energy is just passed from person to person. All the good intentions and all the good energy is kept in that circle.
I guess we've got some other dances that are not necessarily for the don't honor animals and don't always honor circles, and some that value speed and are some fast dances and some fun dances to do. So I think I asked the dancers if they would be up for it. I'm going to try to talk and drag this out a couple minutes, give them a chance to catch their breath, and maybe even me a chance to catch mine. So this dance is a dance that we recently got extended permission to use from Iroquois people. A lot of our songs are like this. They are songs that are from these eastern parts of the Americas, but they don't always come just from us. So like the Alligator dance that comes from down south, or some of these dances that do come from us. The stick dance comes from us. But this is a dance that comes from the Iroquois people, and these exchanges still happen, still to this day. So just, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, the Iroquois people gave us permission to do the smoke dance. And so this is a dance, they say your feet are supposed to move so fast that it causes smoke to come up from your moccasins. So,
These moccasins.
so I asked the dancers if they would be up for it, and we got a few of them that said yes, they would be up for it. And so we're going to do a quick smoke dance for you guys. Ha hida, ha hida, ha yeah, ha yeah, ha yeah, hey, ho, ha yo, hey, 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 ah we, oh, ho, 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 ha we, oh, hey, 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 ah hey, ah hey, ah hey, oh, ha we da, ha yeah, ha yeah, ha yeah, hey, oh, ha we, oh, hey, 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 ah we, oh, ho, 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 ha we, oh, hey, 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 ah hey, ah hey, ah hey, oh. Woo! So it's one that I definitely enjoy singing. I enjoy dancing when I get the chance. It's fun. So it's one of the faster dance, and I hope that you were able to catch some of their feet moving fast. It looks like it may have done the trick. It may have done the trick. Another moccasins hot boy. All right. Yeah, and let's take a chance, I guess, right now, since we got these guys out there moving fast. You may notice that we've got different styles of regalia, maybe something different than what you're used to seeing out in the world. We wear different things, but they all, in one way or another, represent us as Eastern people. So, I'm dressed different than Kitty and Sassman and any of these other folks. So maybe we might take a sort of a chance to do a little bit of talking about our regalias. Does that make sense?
Sounds good to me, Nikis.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm dressed in a way that's sort of emblematic of the post-contact period for sure. I've got a lot of wool and ribbon work, metal embellishments on my regalia, and these would all be after contact with European people. The ribbon shirts came in, I think, in the early 1800s. So these or late 1700s, I guess is better to say. So this is a style from around the time of the change of the 16th to the 17th century. I'm sorry, the 17th to the 18th century, right? No, 18th to the 19th. I'm going backwards. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And this is something that you'd see typical of folks in the East here. I've got my feathers that are all from these eastern birds, the hawks, Cooper tail hawk, red tail hawk, yellow flicker, and and blue jay feathers. So these are all feathers that you'd find in this part of the world. They represent different things that we can learn from those animals because those animals are our teachers. And we wear those feathers, we try to remember those teachings that we get from them. The bravery and the tenacity of the flicker to fight a hawk, and the hawk itself is a great hunter, and we try to admire those skills. I guess somebody else to talk about what they're wearing. Somebody. Yeah.
Hi. Oh, hello. So what I'm wearing is made out of deer skin. It's a mantle. The top part is a couple of deer skins sewn together. And what we do is we use the brain of the animal to tan those rawhides when they're in the rawhide state. And the brain softens the hide so that it's wearable and it doesn't return back to the smoking part of the tanning process, keeps it from returning to rawhide. So we make our clothing from this, and I tried to stay with what my ancestors would have worn in 17th century, 1750s or so, without a lot of glass beads, painted design along the borders of the mantle and the skirt, and also with the shoes. And I have some beads made out of the bone of the deer and a metal pendant made out of brass, which would have been maybe a cooking pot that we would have traded for, which we found we preferred to break those pots down to make things that were more usable. And because we already had clay to cook in, so we preferred to use the metal for other things like arrowheads, pendants, spoons. I also have wampum fashioned made from the quahog shell. So that's a lot of times the men would make the jewelry, the men being the life takers and the life alterers, the women being the life givers, of course. And I have a turkey fan, which helps to keep me cool in the summer months and also acts as a visor, bright lights. And then just a lot of other trade metals. So that's what I'm wearing. Thank you.
Cha, hello again. I just wanted to, Natasui Satakwin, Nutomas Masipia, Kanahagansia. Again, my name is Adequin. I'm from Mashpee, Wampanoag, Narragansett Tribes. Growing up, my father had told me that I would have to learn my traditional style here from the East Coast. And then later, as I got older, I had the option to basically choose any style that I wanted to dance. And as I got older, I switched over to Northern Traditional. Even though this is my traditional style, it's typically called Eastern War. This is what we would usually wear. This is how we would traditionally dress. On my feet, I do have beaded moccasins. I have the deer hoofs on them to represent a piece of me and who I am, with my name being Little Deer. But the moccasins are beaded, whereas here on the East Coast, we would usually have pucker-toed moccasins, as you would see some of our dancers wearing. But having the Northern Traditional experience, I kind of like the flashiness of them, so those are a piece that I take over with me. My tie is actually a gift from when I was a baby. This is one of my first pieces gifted to me. And many other things. Like Kitty was saying, I have a buckskin leggings and breechcloth. I have deer toes on my feet for sound. Brass armbands. I have ermines hanging down. I have some wampum on the back. But yeah, the oak leaves represent who I am also, because my grandfather is tall oak, and the acorn doesn't fall too far from the tree. Here you see the acorn. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. Katapatanamu.
Katabatash, Sassman Whedon, that's my name. Today I am wearing also buckskin like everybody else, and I do have the style, as Adequin just said, contemporary beaded moccasins, which more you see in like the western area of Indian country. I have a ribbon shirt on. The colors represent blue for the water. Water is life, Minnie Wachoni. And purple represents our tribal colors, and the wampum that you all see our jewelry so beautifully made out of. I do have a couple prayer necklaces on that I have gathered across Indian country, making connections and meeting youth along the way from Grand Ron to Thanatham Nation down in Arizona. And that's about it. So thank you.
Yeah, just to add to that, like she said, we're wearing buckskin. Me and Deja have our traditional Eastern pucker style moccasins, and just painted on our skins, as well as the woven belt. And we have some wampum and abalone, and then of course Deja has her beautiful crown made with beads and wampum.
Yeah, so just to add on to that, we all are wearing pretty traditional Eastern woodland style, so that's what this buckskin is. As Talia said, I do have this crown as the Paua princess, and this has been passed down for generations. We even have some former princesses here, so it's an honor to be able to wear this crown. As you can see, I'm not sure if you guys can really see, but I have teardrop wampum earrings and a wampum necklace, just symbolizing the importance of wampum for the Wampanoag Nation. And that's also why I chose to have my designs be purple and white to represent wampum. So yeah, thank you.
So the next dance that we're going to do is also a dance that would be different if we had the whole community to participate. But we're going to do the best we can with the small numbers that we have, and we're going to be able to do it. This is a dance that's a lot of fun. It's similar to the London Bridges sort of thing, or Duck, Duck, Goose. And while it isn't Duck, Duck, Goose, we call it the Duck Dance. And in this dance, we have generally the young men who team up in pairs, and they represent the hunters, and the young ladies who represent the ducks. And the idea is that the hunters want to come home with something to eat, and the ducks, of course, want to get away and go free. And the beat will change at one point, and it will represent the fluttering that you hear when the duck's wings beat on the water, if you ever hear that sound. And that's when you hear that sound as a hunter, that's when you should get ready to throw your nets up and try to catch what ducks you can, because that's when they're flying low and you can get them coming out of the swamp grasses. And then when the beat stops, that's when the hunters have the chance to see their nets drop and see whether or not they come home with a duck or come home empty-handed. So with that, you singing or am I singing? All right. Kitty's going to lead, and I'm gonna back her up.
We're just going to do a short one. We are ho, we are ho, way yokena, we are. Yahweh, way oh hey, 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 oh ya ne, oh ya, oh ya ne, oh ya, oh ya, oh way, oh ya, oh way, we oh ho. Yahweh, way oh hey, 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 oh ya ne, oh ya, oh ya ne, oh ya, oh ya, oh way, oh ya, oh way, we oh ho. Actually, that's the favorite dance of the young ones at home.
Queen A, then Stomp dance? Okay. All right, well, I guess we're going to just move. We had one more dance I thought we may have done for y'all, but I guess we are moving into some question and answer because we've filled up the time. So, well, oh, I guess we do have time for one more. Okay, so we do have time for one more, and I'm happy because, well, you know, of course everybody's got their own favorite. Some folks love the Mosquito. I like the Alligator more than the Mosquito myself, and I like the duck more than the Alligator. But this is actually personally my favorite song. This is a song that's done for all those beings that cannot dance, and this is a song that is done with the purpose of thinking of those that have no legs, like the trees, like the grass, like the worm, like the snakes, those types of things that don't have any legs. How can you dance without legs? And so we think of them too. We understand that dancing is something that we appreciate because our bodies are given the gift to do that. We don't want to waste it, but we also want to share it with everybody. So this would typically be done, and it would be done where you'd snake your way through the villages and through the communities, bringing the dance to those old folks whose legs might have brittle bones, or the little babies whose legs might still be made of rubber and unable to support their weight, to dance through the trees, to dance through the homes, to dance through the hillsides and the rocks, to bring that dance to those that can't dance for themselves so that they don't miss out either, because we want to include everybody. So this is a call and response dance, and it's one of the ones that the armies took on to use in their marches because it's got a great sort of marching sense of it. And with that, I guess we'll just go into the stomp dance. Heat up!
Hey!
Heat up! Hey! Heat up! Hey! Heat up! Hey! Higher! I'm glad we did have time for that one. That's, you know, I know a lot of the kids out there, that's their favorite too. They come and they hear that last chorus especially, that when you hear us do the huddy, you can see a lot of them kids come running from from wherever they are.
I feel like a kid myself right now.
Sometimes so do I. So I guess with that, I think that we're moving to the question and answer period. So, yeah.
Wonderful. We're so excited that each of you chose to take some time to join us today. Having the Wampanoag Nation singers and dancers here with us is such an honor. And we have some questions that all of you sent in while you were watching or when you registered. So we're going to start with a question from one of our young viewers. And this person asks, what animals are particularly sacred in your culture and why?
Well, there are many animals that are important to us, and for us, life itself is sacred. So the very notion that you've got something that is alive, that is sentient being, is sacred in itself. Whether it's like I said, we sang earlier, the Mosquito dance, even. So we honor them and the sacredness of their lives. But we also understand that there's animals that have particular purposes, and we understand that there's a lot of great lessons that we get from the turtle, who we understand is one of the animals that supports us on its back at shell. We have lessons that we get from the eagle, who's able to fly higher than any other and get closer to Creator for it and carry messages back and forth into this world and that. We understand that there's messages and lessons we can learn from the beaver about hoarding, about inequality, and how that will always lead to chaos. We understand that there's lessons we can learn from the bear about where to fish and where to find the berries. So all of these animals are our teachers, and we look to them to learn from them, as they've been in this world longer than we have. And we understand in that relationship that we are the little brother, and we have to learn from them.
I was going to, you mentioned Mosk Bear. He's also, she or he would be the keeper of the medicine as well. And also the deer, Atak, the one to hunt for obvious reasons, the meat, the fur, the bone that make our tools, that we make tools from. So the deer is also very important.
All right, and we have another question. This person asks, how do you say thank you in your language? And they share themselves in their native language, Tagalog, which is largely spoken in the Philippines. They thank you for sharing that with, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right, Maraming salamat.
So there's a couple different ways you can say thank you in our language. If you're speaking to just one person, you could say katapatash. That's frequently used among tribal people. If you're speaking to multiple people, you could say katapatanamu. The anamu at the end means that you're speaking to multiple. But those are more informal, and then there's also katapaton tamawash, which is the formal way of saying thank you. All good?
Wonderful. I hope, remember, you can rewatch this program so you can rewind that so you can learn some language yourself. And one of our viewers actually asked, related question, could you talk a little bit about language reclamation projects and about like how that's impacting Wampanoag literature?
I can start off by saying being an early education educator, we have our immersion Montessori school at the Government Center in Mashpee, and the little ones are immersed in the language, usually to around 12. So that language program is going strong amongst the young ones and also amongst the elders. We're just getting it back after 400 years, so it's a learning, obviously a learning curve, but a lot of progress has been made amongst tribal members and families to use the language.
Yeah, it was, it was in a sad state as many native languages that are facing less and less speakers. I know that I heard Troy's family talk about when they were little in the beginning of the 1900s, hearing a few words and phrases around the house, and especially during hunting, they said, in the woods. But it was a language we had to hide for a long time. We would be punished for speaking it. So that to survive, it survived in places in the woods where people were hunting, where they could be away from the rest of society and be allowed the freedom to even speak in their language. Something that a lot of the boarding schools and such tried to take away from us by really doing away with our children, even as you see the bodies being brought up in Canada, 7,000 now. And how many here in the U.S.? We haven't even looked yet. So we're very fortunate to be able to have that to reclaim. We're fortunate that we have the whole Bible translated into Wampanoag beginning in the 1640s, and about twice that volume of wills, letters of complaint, deeds, other different documents that are written by Wampanoag people in their language in the 16 and 1700s. So we're very fortunate for that great wealth of literary knowledge, and to be able to look back at those records is incredible as well, because you look and you see that some of these complaints that people are making in the 1700s, these basic things that they're asking for, to be treated as equal human beings, to be able to own the land under their own feet, is still what we're asking for today. Still today, we're still asking for this from the United States. So, it's kind of heartbreaking to see that these same things need to be asked for that are just basic human decency. And we still have to wait to be given that basic decency. So that's justice delayed is justice denied.
And we have one of our questions that comes in saying, is there one story that you feel is the most cherished by your tribe's traditions and myths? It's hard, so maybe we can open it up and say, are there a few? Are there particular ones that folks can learn more about?
Well, there's the legend of Mashop, which is told amongst all of our tribal communities, and also in other Wampanoag communities. Like Herring Pond has their version of giants. All native stories and oral traditions have a giant in these stories, and they have little people as well. So Mashop was, he created Cape Cod and the islands from the sand spilling out of his moccasinage. There's a lot of tellings of these stories because they are alive. The stories are alive, and stories are changing from teller to teller. So you can always embellish and add and be the person that's telling your story, and it can be from all the different ones that you've been brought up learning about, and stories that teach. But Mashop is very popular because, we do have our creation stories, and Mashop is one of the more popular, but also the winter is a time of telling stories and telling creation stories, things that you pass down to your children, and they in turn pass down to their children out through the generations. So that's how those stories stay alive. Anyone else? Oh, Granny Squannet. Granny Squannet is a medicine woman, and as of late, it's actually she knew where the plants and probably was taught by the bears, but knew where all those healing remedies were in the woods, and she lived in the woods. Some say she was Mashop's wife, but if you are a badly behaved child, you'd also often be threatened that Granny Squannet's going to come get you. Yeah, Granny's going to get you, but she's going to teach you things and change the course of your bad behavior. But that's my telling of Granny Squannet. Anybody else have a story?
So one of the wonderful things about us having this be a virtual program with our audience from anywhere, is that we actually have a question from a teacher from New Mexico who asks, are there any feast days for Massachusetts tribes such as the Wampanoag?
All of our Thanksgivings.
Yeah, we have 13 feast days a year. So every cycle of the moon has something you should be giving thanks for. Our new year begins in May, and that's when the herring return up the river, and we give thanks for the herring. And then after we give thanks for the herring for bringing into the life back to the land after the spring thaw and after winter, and with that renewal of life in the land, we have our new year. And then we have Strawberry Thanksgiving, where we give thanks for the strawberries, the first berry to be ripened in the summertime, and we give thanks for them for that sweetness. We have a green corn Thanksgiving, cranberry Thanksgiving. We have falling leaves Thanksgiving, where we give thanks for the trees. We have a Thanksgiving for the ancestors who've gone past, for maple sugar. So every cycle of the moon has a new thing that we give thanks for. And typically, I think all but one have a feast, so they'd be 12 a year. So 12 out of 13 involve a feast.
Every day is a feasting day in Wampanoag country.
And we are so lucky today to be joined by the Mashpee Wampanoag Powwow Princess. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit for some of our viewers that might not have ever attended a powwow or understand what the importance of that is, if you could share it, especially with our young viewers who might be learning for the first time.
Yes, so I'm this year's Mashpee Wampanoag Powwow Princess. It's an honor to hold this position. This is something that a lot of tribal nations all across the United States and Canada have royalty, and so I am my tribe's royalty for this year. Pretty much you apply for the position, and you're supposed to understand your culture, your tribe's history, and just really be an active member of the community, set a good example for the youth. And yeah, like I said, kind of just be there for your people. So that's really what I do, go to different events and just represent, do traditional song and dance and things like that. So yeah, I'm definitely honored to have this position.
Thank you so much, Dad.
I'm just going to add in that it's somebody that the community comes together to select out of the applicants, and it's somebody that we feel proud of and that we feel that we can be proud of putting forward to represent us. So, you know, that's we are proud of you. So.
And so I want to, I know that we couldn't get to all the questions that you sent in, but I want to thank you for sending them. I want to thank each of you for taking the time to view from wherever it is that you are and take the time to learn with us. We really want to thank the Wampanoag Nation singers and dancers for sharing with us about their culture and their current traditions and issues that are important to them. I also want to remind you at home that I'm so glad that you learned about the Wampanoag Nation singers and dancers today. As you learned throughout the program, even they come from distinct tribes that have special traditions. And in the United States, we have thousands of tribes, and in the continent of America. So I want to encourage you to take this as an opportunity to maybe learn about the closest local tribe nation close to you, because while they'll share some traditions, they also are diverse and they have their own traditions that'll be really exciting for you to learn about. And so you remember to always learn about Indigenous history and the contemporary communities and their issues all year long, not just on Native American Heritage Month. We want to make sure to also thank our sponsors, AT&T, the Martin Richard Foundation, the Mass Cultural Council, and the John F. Kennedy Library Foundation. They make it possible for us to bring these programs free of charge to you. I want to remind each of you to always be respectful when you're curious and you're learning new things. And I do hope that you join us again next month. Every month we'll be putting together a virtual program for you this season so that we can all come together and celebrate. Make sure to visit jfklibrary.org/.
Geronimo.